What's up, Sugar Bushes? Welcome to another episode of Crime and Cosmetics. Today we are talking about the Wesson Vampire Cult led by Marcus Wesson. What? What is it? What do you want from me? What? 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 You silly gal? What do you want? What do you want? Marcus Wesson led the Wesson Vampire Cult. It's a pretty, trigger warning. There's, a lot of, child abuse and stuff like that. Okay, hello. How are you? You just came falling out of the sky. Can I help you, girls? What? What do you want? What do you want? Okay, good talk, good talk, good talk. So, girl, what? There's a lot of child abuse and other stuff we'll talk about. I'm not going to talk too heavily on that because it's just a touchy subject, but let me take care of these gals and then we will get started. What do you want from me? Oh my god, you're so needy. Come on. Come on. Oh my god. Oh my, so also, quick sidebar, I filmed the commercial for this wallet that I told them I would film a commercial for them, and it was, the cats were in the room when I did it, and part of the commercial, I throw the wallet into a bunch of cups to make a lot of noise, and they lost their mind. It was, if I have it on film, you can only hear them in the background just taking off and destroying everything, but if I can get it edited, I will post it for you guys. I will post it for you. Let me get my notes up. I don't know what we're gonna do. Per usual, I can't find my Violet Voss palette, which really sucks. I don't know where I put it, but once the universe wants me to have it, it will show up. So I think we're gonna do a black and blue and red look. Alright, you little heathens. Also, sorry about not having one of these last week. I got super sick. I don't know what it was. It must have been a sinus infection or something. I thought I had the Rona for a minute and I was really scared, but I took a at-home test and said I was negative, thank God. But I'm still a little stuffy and congested, so just bear with me. Like I said, trigger warning for child abuse, sexual assault, and things of that nature. Marcus Wesson was a real POS, and kind of a terrifying man. Let me pull up a picture for you real quick. So this is sorry. Everything's backwards for me. This is Marcus Wesson. He is the leader of the, quote, Wesson Vampire Cult. Super not a good guy, and you're about to figure out why. So this absolute D-word dragging around a body was born in Kansas, I guess, represent. He was the eldest of 4 children. His parents were Benjamin and Carrie Wesson. He was raised as a member of a Seventh-day Adventist church. If you remember our Branch Davidians episode, I can't remember if I did a Crime and Cosmetics with them or that was just a podcast, but if you remember anything about the Branch Davidians, they were a sect of Seventh-day Adventists. Like I said, we've talked about them before. The Branch Davidians were led by David Koresh, whatever his stupid name is, and they were pants-crapping crazy, so that's about all you need to know. But Wesson claims that his mother was super into religion, which, most Seventh-day Adventists are, and later in the story, Wesson talks about how he, admires David Koresh and stuff like that, which is a giant red flag if there was ever a red flag. Wesson's dad was a piece of shit alcoholic who would abuse everyone, his mother and his siblings included, and he ended up leaving the family when Marcus was young. I think he said his dad left around when he was 4 or something like that. But by the early 1960s, his family picks up and they move their roots to San Bernardino, California way. This is also kind of a shorter case, so just we're gonna maybe stick. I always say we'll stick to something simple, and then I just do something incredibly outlandish. So, Marcus drops out of high school and joins the army. Represent, I guess. He drops out of high school and he joins the old United States Army. He serves from 1965 to 1968. I wonder if I can get this blue to show up a little bit more. Hold on. So in the Army, he was an ambulance driver. So he does his little stint in the Army. He gets out. He ends up moving in with this older woman named Rosemary Solorio and her 8 children in San Jose, California. In good old 1971, Rosemary gives birth to Wesson's son. And in 1974, Wesson takes a special interest in Solorio's 8-year-old daughter, Elizabeth. He tells her things like, quote, "God told me we were going to be together. You're already my wife." Like, what in the HE double hockey sticks the fuck? So Wesson actually goes on to marry Elizabeth when she turns 14 and he's 27. And 4 months later, she gives birth to his first child. So it's apparent that Mr. Wesson is, like, not a good guy, obviously. He's a piece of shit, to put it lightly. So Elizabeth and Wesson, they end up having 10 kids in total. 10 kids. This includes one of their children that had passed away when it was an infant. Now, oh man, hold on, I need to focus for this. I'm not good at, like, line work. Give me a second. Alright, we got those looking mighty symmetrical which is astonishing to me, because I usually am not good at that. But anyways, so, what did I say? Yeah, Wesson's not a good guy. He's a real piece of shit. And what's up, Raven? How are you? So, excuse me. Wesson never really held down a job. Most of his income came from welfare checks. Hold on, I gotta clear my throat. Sorry, still getting over the sickness. Most of his income came from welfare checks, as well as whenever his children became working age, he would send them to get jobs, and when they got paychecks from said jobs, he would take their paychecks and keep it to himself, obviously, because why wouldn't he? And they already have these 9 kids in their house, and from what I was reading, it said they moved from, like, they had moved from living situation to living situation. It's a big family, a low-income family as well, so they're living in, like, rundown shacks. Sometimes they would squat if they needed to. So they have these 9 kids living in this house, but to add a cherry on top, Elizabeth's younger sister leaves her own 7 children in Wesson's care, claiming that she couldn't take care of them because of a drug problem. So now they have, like, 16 kids living with them, which is bananas. So obviously, this is all bad news bears. These kids, including Elizabeth, are victims to this awful, disgusting human being. It goes without saying, Wesson was, like, incredibly abusive towards his wife or wives and children. He was very, very adamant about preventing Elizabeth in being a part of the children's upbringing. He homeschooled his children. He wouldn't allow, like, the boys and girls to be together. Elizabeth had to be kept in a different room while he was with the children. She wasn't allowed to see them. Going back to what I said prior, he homeschooled all of his kids, and he taught them from his own handwritten Bible. And in this handwritten Bible, he stated that he was Jesus Christ, basically. Well, I don't know. It's weird. So he tells his children, teaches from this handwritten Bible, he tells his children that he is God, and they have to refer to him as Master or Lord. And in the typical Seventh-day Adventist fashion, he is preparing his children for the ever-coming Armageddon. Let me finish this bottom eye real quick. Typical old-fashioned typical Seventh-day Adventist fashion. He is preparing his kids for the Armageddon that is always around the corner. Yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't mention this. This is happening in Fresno, California. Most of our story takes place in California way. He was incredibly physically abusive. Sexual abuse was rampant inside the house. Wesson abused all of his children. Like I said, the boys and girls were not allowed to have contact with each other. Elizabeth was not allowed to have any kind of interaction in the kids' upbringing. There are a ton of details about the rampant sexual abuse that took place in this house. I'm really not going to go into full detail about that because, you know, you can look it up of your own if you want. It's a bit of a touchy subject for your boy, but the abuse usually started when the kids were around 8, and that's about all I'm going to say. There was a lot of incest happening. You know, Wesson married his daughters and made them bear his children. Excuse me. Wesson believed it was his family's job to create more children for the Lord. And like I said, when the whole Branch Davidians thing happened, because when the Branch Davidians were attacked, it was broadcasted on national TV. When the ATF and FBI did what they did. It was, thanks for the sub, Black Moon Raven. It was broadcasted on national TV, and, you know, there's accounts of Wesson watching it and being like, you know, he sympathizes with David, saying him and David are the same kind of person. He's doing exactly what David's doing. He's making more children for the Lord and all that fucking hoo-ha. But that was his belief, is that they were responsible, him and his family are responsible for making more children for the Lord, saying, quote, God's children are becoming extinct. We need to preserve God's children. We need to have more children for the Lord, which is disgusting. Wesson also ended up purchasing a bunch of coffins for his family to sleep in at an old funeral home. When he was purchasing them, he told the director, or whoever was selling them at the funeral home, that he was going to use the wood to make beds for his children, which I guess technically is not a lie, because that's what they were using them for. But, yeah, just out of his mind. And you can kind of tell that, there was kind of like Stockholm Syndrome there, which Stockholm Syndrome is the one where they like start to bond with their abuser, kind of. Because like there are some accounts of the kids being like, oh, you know, it was a democratic household, we voted on everything, and nothing, you know, was done without everyone agreeing to do it and stuff like that. Thank you. There are also accounts that like Wesson was completely different when raising the boys versus the girls. Like, he was very much like a, you know, as much of a normal dad as he could be to the men when he was raising them. But obviously to the women of the family, it was sexual abuse and just abuse in general. But I don't know. I think, like I said, I think there was some degree of Stockholm Syndrome there. And, like, I mean, trauma does fucking crazy things to people. So, from what I've read, Wesson had 2 daughters / nieces / child brides that rebelled against him. Oh, come on. Get under that black. They ended up rebelling against him, and their names were Ruby Ortiz and Sofina Solario. Now, from what I read, they were not going to stand for Wesson's shit, stand for what he was putting them through, and they wanted out. So Wesson agrees basically to let them go under the circumstance that they had to leave their children behind. They could not take their children with them if they wanted to get out of the family, basically. Their children were the price of their freedom. So the women agreed to this. The women agree to this, and they come up with basically like the women would be allowed to see their children whenever they pleased. They would maintain contact with their mother. Wesson would not be allowed to keep the children from them, you know, all that stuff. And that was the agreement, and the two got out of the family. This, again, this is from what I read. This is my understanding. If I'm wrong, please, if you know a lot about this case and I'm wrong, please correct me. So, on March 14th, 2004, Wesson divulges that he has plans to move him, his daughters, and his children bride, basically, to Washington State, because that's where his parents lived at the time. That is when several members of Wesson's extended family, including Ruby and Sophia, they show up to Wesson's house and, you know, start banging on the door, demanding that he give them, you know, it's wrong. He can't take them away from their mothers. What he's doing is wrong, and that they want their children back. And this is several members of the extended family. So, and they want the rest of the children to be released as well. So, Wesson comes out of the house in like an attempt to defuse the situation, but a concerned citizen has already contacted police, claiming basically contacted the police, and the police respond to a supposed child custody dispute. So, police arrive on the scene. They're responding to this supposed child custody dispute, and when the police first arrive, Wesson is being completely cooperative. The police have no reason to suspect that something is up. During them talking to him, or this whole ordeal, they allow him to go, I don't know, it's not really clear why they allow him to excuse himself and go inside. I don't know if he was like, oh, I need to go inside and grab something, or if he's like, can I go inside? And they're like, yeah. Don't know why. But when he goes inside, he ends up locking the door and not coming back out. So police begin demanding Wesson to come out and speak with them further. And while they are attempting to get Wesson to come out of his house, police hear multiple gunshots coming from inside the residence. Soon after the last gunshot is heard, Wesson exits the house with his hands raised, and he surrenders to police. When police search the house, they find an absolutely gruesome scene. They discover 9 bodies in total. This included 2 of Wesson's daughters and a total of 7 of their young children. All the bodies were discovered in the bedroom that was filled with antique coffins. Each victim had been shot directly through the eye, and there were also other members of the family that lived in the house, but they were not home at the time and ended up surviving the incident. The names of the deceased are as follows. We have Sabrina April Wesson, who was 25, Elizabeth Bria Keena Wesson, who was 17, Illabelle Carrie Wesson, who was 8, Aviv Dominic Wesson, who was 7, Jonathan St. Charles Wesson, who was also 7, Ethan St. Laurent Wesson, who was 4, Marche St. Christopher Wesson, who was 1 year old, Java St. Vladensvispry Wesson, who was 1 year old. Sorry if I mispronounced that middle name. And Sidonia Vadra Wesson, who was also 1 year old, which is absolutely fucking heartbreaking. Wesson's trial consisted of Chief Deputy District Attorney Lisa Gamoyan. Wesson was represented by two public defenders whose names were Peter Jones and Ralph Torres. I understand that the defense needs to be... You need someone who is a lawyer for the defense, but I do not understand, like... I don't understand how you, like, go into a trial as the defense attorney and, like, you know, defend this person. Even if you're not defending their innocence, you're, like, just trying to get them a lesser, I guess, sentence. I don't know, but bro, better than me. I couldn't fucking do it. So Wesson's defense team, though, they argue that Sabrina, the 25-year-old who was killed in the house, was the one that carried out the murders, and Marcus was not, including the murder of her son Marche. And then she took her own life. Now, they stated that the murder weapon, a .22 caliber handgun, was found with her body, as well as DNA was found on the weapon as well, which gave Wesson's claims of this happening some credibility. Now, I mean, Wesson's claims of this happening could very well be true, but also, like, it's apparent that if it is true, he was abusing and manipulating his family like no other. So the jury declined to find that Wesson fired the fatal shots that took the lives of his children, but they convicted him of murder anyways. They found him... Is this purple? Yes, it is. They convicted him of the murders anyways, finding that he had persuaded his children to enter a suicide pact. So on June 17th, 2005, Wesson is convicted of 9 counts of first-degree murder, as well as 14 counts of forcible rape and sexual molestation of 7 of his daughters and nieces, and Wesson is sentenced to death on June 27th, 2005, and he's being currently housed in San Quentin's prison, where he will remain for the rest of his life. I was reading some articles, and they said that him being executed, I don't know why it's unlikely. I don't know why it's unlikely that he's going to be executed, like he'll ever see his execution date. But I hope he does. Or, you know, it might be worse, him rotting in a prison cell his entire life. Either way, he's a giant piece of shit. It's California, even if the death penalty still exists, it's not heavily enforced. As of last year, California hasn't executed anyone since 2006. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's understandable. Hi, Toofy. Hello. Hi, baby. Okay, alright, come on. But that is the story of Marcus Wesson and the Wesson Vampire Cult. What a real, like, awful human being. And may he stay in prison for the rest of his life, which most likely he will. Let me do some line work, put some liner on, all that fun stuff, clean up the edges here, and we will pick our case for next week. So, we did some line work, we put some highlighter on the little nose, and then I got some little highlighter here. Let me turn the light on just a little bit so it doesn't wash it out. Got some highlighter there, and on this side, I need to get another light in here just so we have light on both sides so it equals out. But the only line that I didn't like how it turned out was, sorry, this one right here, because I've still got like some hair in between the parts of my eyebrow that aren't slit. Excuse me. And it gets a little wonky whenever you try to do it, but it's not that big of a deal. Let's pick our crime for next week. Oh, and we got a cute little heart here. Anywho, as always, if you have a case you want covered, leave them in the comments of this video, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. You can @me on Twitter. It doesn't matter if you want if you have a case that you want covered. let me know, and we will add it to the old crime container. So we still got a whole lot to go through, but we're going to keep adding them as you keep giving them to me. Whoop. All right. So, Anita Cobby. Who is that? I didn't put this one in here. Which one of you silly gooses put this one in here? I'm not even sure who that is. Let me look her up real quick. Oh, is this another killer nurse? Oh, no, definitely not. Just kidding. Never mind. That is not a killer nurse. Okay, so Anita Cobby is who we're going to be covering next week. If you... Eliza Lamb? I don't think so, no. I have not, but I can add her to the crime container. If you want to watch these live, you're more than welcome to. We do them on Twitch now because it's a lot easier for me editing-wise. When I get more free time, maybe we'll go back to the old format, but I'm trying to build my viewership on Twitch so I can make partner. But you can come watch them live. We're doing them on Sundays now. I switched them from Saturdays because when I do emo night stuff, there's a 100% chance that I'm going to be on the road on Saturday. So Sunday makes it to where, and if I'm on the road, I can't do crime and cosmetics. So we can, if they're on Sundays, I will always be home and we will always have, be able to do it so I can consistently get out these crime and cosmetics to you guys. But we do these live on Twitch. I'll link that in the description of this video. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. New episodes of the podcast out. We just started our new season. We are going to be doing catastrophic events. Super cool. That's streaming on all major streaming platforms. It's called Snacks Packs. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, it's going to be there. We're still playing video games on Twitch. Obviously, still doing stuff on Twitch. Twitch is really the main platform that I use. I also have some different YouTube video ideas I want to start filming, so be on the lookout for those. I know I say that all the time, just get off my back. And I got some really cool collaborations in the works that I'm really excited to talk to you guys about. I think that's it. I'll link the rest of my social medias in the description of this video. Like I said, if you have a case you want covered, leave it in the comments. DM me on Instagram, at me on Twitter, doesn't matter. Any way to get a hold of me or email me, and I will put them in the crime container. So be safe, be kind to others, be kind to yourself. Know that you are loved, you are valued, you are cherished, and there's always a place for you here in this community. And if no one's told you today, I'm proud of you. No matter what your accomplishments are, big or small, they're still accomplishments. You should be proud of yourself as I'm proud of you. I mean, look how far you've come. I will see you guys next week. Love you so much. Bye-bye.